Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the MetaStellar YouTube channel. My name is Maria KOROLOV, and I'm here to tell you that the top 3 best-selling speculative fiction book on Amazon today is an epic fantasy by New York Times best-selling author. But before we get to that, we've got 9 other books to get to because every single Friday, the team here at MetaStellar reads the first few chapters of every single book on Amazon top 10 sci-fi and fantasy list. Today I was helped out by marketing assistant Lilibet Dominguez-Torres and community member Alex Korolov. Unfortunately, neither one of them could be here today, so it's just me. The link to the article with the full reviews and all the links to all the books is in the description box down below. I'm going to try to just summarize the reviews so that we can get through it quickly. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I'm late getting started today because I had a long day at my day job writing about application programming interface security. It's not good. The news is always bad in cybersecurity, but it's particularly bad for API interfaces. Anyway, for those who are new, MetaStellar is an online magazine of speculative fiction. All the content is always free to our readers, thanks to the generous support of our Patreon contributors. Thanks, guys. We publish original short fiction, lots of it, reprints, excerpts, essays, and lots of book reviews. And we have our second anthologies coming out. Look, this is a preview of it. You guys are the first ones to see it. It keeps disappearing, but here it is. I'm going to change. This is the preview copy, so I'm going to make the cover a little lighter. It's a little dark. And here's last year's anthology, which is available to purchase. This one will be available to purchase in a couple of weeks. So, woohoo! I'm very excited. Okay, so enough about us. Let's get to our free sci-fi and fantasy books. All right, let's go to book number 10, which is Ghost Bully by Brian Corley. It's a standalone book. This was the author's first book on Amazon. And it's his first time on a Free Friday list. He does have one other book on Amazon called Space Throne, a sci-fi adventure, and that book is also free. So it's about a guy named Jonah who's a young kind of professional, and he buys his first house at foreclosure and moves in with his best friend. And they discover the house is haunted. The previous tenant committed suicide. And the housemate quickly moves out, and Jonah tries to get in a psychic and a priest, and nothing works, and it all goes badly. But despite the premise, it sounds grim, but it's actually a light, breezy kind of story. And I got a third of the way into the book before I realized that, I had a job and stuff. I don't want to give away any spoilers, but it's pretty fun. It reminded me a little bit of Beetlejuice in style. Maybe not quite as funny, but kind of light and breezy. A great low-stress weekend read. All right, next we have Codename Year One Secret Agent. The first of 3 books in the Codename Universe sci-fi adventure series. The other books are $3 to $5 each, and the series is not in Kindle Unlimited. This is the author's first time on our Free Friday list. So I began reading this one. It reminded me a little bit of Men in Black. I've got some problems with this book. First of all, there's too many colons in the title. I mean, you can't see them on the book cover, but if you look at the listing, it's Codename Year One Secret Agent. And the second book in the series is called Codename Year Two Secret Agent, and so on. So it's kind of unimaginative. Also, it begins slowly, but also too quickly. Like, things happen kind of like in summary form. So there's a lot of action in the first couple of chapters. The guy gets recruited into the secret agency. His girlfriend breaks up with him. He dates an alien. The alien breaks up with him. Their training facility is attacked. I mean, literally all that happens in the first 2 chapters. We barely get a chance to get to know the characters. It's very cinematic in that way. So if that's the kind of book you like, it's pretty easy to read. It's kind of breezy and kind of low stress. So it's one of those like fun, like popcorn movie kind of reads. Okay, next we have Colony East by Scott Cramer, the second of 3 books in the Toucan trilogy, a young adult dystopia series. The other books are $6 each, but they're in Kindle Unlimited. But the first book in the series is also free today. So, and it's the author's first time on our list. Alex KOROLOV read this one, but he didn't actually read this book. He read the first book in a series, which is also free, because you don't want to spoil yourself. And that book, as I said, is called Night of the Purple Moon, and the link to that is in the description box below as well. Do get it while it's still free. I should have mentioned, all the free books rarely stay free for long. Authors make them free as part of a short promotion, or publishers make them free to promote the release of a new book later on in the series, or some other reason. Books in Kindle Unlimited get 5 free days every 3 months, and some authors try to take advantage of that to drum up interest in their whole series and all their books. So this is something that you have to jump on right when it happens. This is why our videos get put up unedited, because we can't afford to spend a couple of days editing the videos, because by the time we do that, the books might not be free anymore. All right, or they might still be, so check. Sometimes the authors keep them free longer. But anyway, back to this book. So Alex says this series is for fans of apocalyptic dystopian fiction, where things go horribly wrong, and there's a few survivors scrambling to survive. So we got Abby, who's a 15-year-old girl who lives on a small island in Maine with her dad, older brother, younger sister. Her mom works in Boston. She's supposed to come visit, but the comet, there's a comet that's going by, and the dust from the comet, it pretty much kills everyone who's older than Abby. All the adults are dead. So that's kind of gruesome. Alex says he thinks it's a cool premise for an apocalyptic story. The first 3 chapters definitely got his attention, and he plans to finish the book and move on to find out what happens to the poor kids that are trying to survive on the planet. So if you like that, pick up this book and the first book in the series as well. All right, number 7. Spells of Iron and Bone by Sarah Piper, the first of 5 books in the Tarot Academy Urban Fantasy series. The other books are $4 to $6 each, and they're not in Kindle Unlimited. This is the author's first time on our list. So Kindle Unlimited, in case you don't know, you pay $12 a month and you read all the books that you want, kind of like a Netflix for books. Really, really good deal if you read more than 2 or 3 books a month, which I definitely do. So I'm always watching out to see if a book is in Kindle Unlimited or not. Given a choice between 2 similar books, I'll read the one in Kindle Unlimited first. Okay, so this is about Stevie, who is an orphan. Her parents died 5 years ago, and after their deaths, tarot cards mysteriously began appearing. So there's magic in this world, but people who have magic are discriminated against. They're viewed with suspicion. They have special tattoos. She's out rock climbing when a storm hits. She hides from the storm in a cave, couple of 100 feet up on this cliffside, and there's a guy there in the cave, an old friend of hers, and he's acting super weird, and he's wearing flip-flops. How did he climb up the cliff in flip-flops? So she figures out that he's possessed by some kind of dark magical thing, and there's a battle, and it's fun. This is a really fun book. I like the character. I like the premise. It's perfectly paced. You really get a sense of the character and the world that she lives in, but there's also plenty of action. I like it. I might stick with it this weekend. Next, we have The Lost Siren by Raven Storm, the first of 7 books in the Rise of the Drakens Paranormal Reverse Harem Romance series. The other books are $5 to $6 each, and they're not in Kindle Unlimited. And this book this is the second week in a row this book has been on our list, and we also reviewed it last year. So this is a super popular genre. Paranormal romance is super popular. Reverse harem is when a girl gets all the guys. Why choose, right? Why not have both the werewolf and the vampire, right? So apparently that's very appealing. Not for me. All I could think about is like, oh my god, the logistics, the drama. Oh, I would not enjoy that. But it's a fantasy, right? You're not supposed to think about the real world implications of having like X number of boyfriends, right? You're just supposed to like enjoy it, enjoy the romance. So anyway, I am not the target audience for this book. But anyway, so the book starts out in a fantasy world where humans are prey. And Ren is a slave of a vampire, and she's beaten, and she's terrified that she's going to be sold to someone even worse. Then a handsome man shows up. Of course, he's handsome. He's not a vampire, but he's also not a human. We don't know what he is. And he gives her a choice. If she wants to, she can come with him. And literally not knowing anything else about this guy, she says, sure, I'll go with you. And he sprouts wings and he flies away with her. So it's a readable story, but it's not my thing. All right. Next, we have Anchored by Bridget Baker. The first of 4 books in the Anchored series of young adult urban fantasy. The other books are $5 each, and they're not in Kindle Unlimited. The author has been on our list a bunch of times. And Lilibet Dominguez Torres read this one, and she says it's about 17-year-old Alora, who is telekinetic, and she's a girl, and in this world, only men are allowed to use magic. And so women are like supposed to like stay quiet and have children. So which Lilibet did not like at all. But the cool thing about this book is that Alora lives in this fantasy world at night while she's asleep in her dreams, and her dreams feel like reality. When she wakes up, she's back here on Earth living a kind of a normal life. But she knows that these dreams are real, because if she has an injury or something when she goes to bed, when she wakes up, that injury has been healed. So it's kind of creepy. Lilibet says that she's not interested in sticking with it, but I also looked at the book because I wanted to see like what was happening, and I found it kind of an interesting, cool premise, and I like the author's writing style and Alora's personality. All right, next we have Shifter School. That's not it. There we go, Shifter School by Gwendolyn Druyor. The first of 3 books in the Shifter School urban fantasy series. The second book is also free today. The third one isn't out yet. It'll be released next week, and you can pre-order it. And it's the author's first time on our list. So I hate young people. I hate schools. Get off my lawn. Blah, blah, blah. I hate teenage drama. So I wasn't going in thinking I was going to like this book at all. The protagonist, Layla, is 14. She's adopted, I guess. She spends some of her time as a dog. And she has trouble switching back from dog to human and back to dog again. So she has trouble controlling her powers. She's and her brother are in hiding from everybody because they don't want people to know who she is or what powers she has. And she's a member of something called Team Weirdos. Weirdos, W-Y-R-D-O-S. Weird, like weirdos, but weirdos. I can't pronounce it. Anyway, I started getting a feeling really, really quickly that I was coming in the beginning of, like in the middle of the story, not the beginning. And I looked it up, and apparently this is part of the Weirdos universe, which has several series in it. And it looks like the first book in the series is called D, which is part of the Weirdos Tales series, which is about a police detective who's also a banshee. And I'm guessing that Layla will at some point have to go to a school for shifters. And so on paper, I shouldn't like this book, but I did. I liked Layla. I liked her brother. I liked the premise. I liked the writing style. I liked everything about this book. I liked the fact that all the books in this series are in Kindle Unlimited. Score. So yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with this book, or probably, go and read that Banshee book first. And I might well read a lot of the author's other books. The really cool thing about Kindle Unlimited is you get to read the book for free, but the author gets paid for every time somebody reads their book. So I think it's a great platform. I wish the authors got paid more, but it's better than not being paid anything. All right. 3. Rise of the Phoenix by F.T. Fair. This is the first of 7 books in the Westwood Pack paranormal romance series. The other books are 99 cents to $4 each, but they're all in Kindle Unlimited. This is the author's first time in our Free Friday list. And so again, Kindle Unlimited, the author gets paid if you read it. And when I say when I said that it's better than not being paid anything, I don't mean that people will like steal the book and read it like illegally. I meant that people won't read it at all because they're like, well, I don't want to spend $5 on a book, so I'm not going to read it. So now you get those readers, and people can discover a new author. And sometimes they like an author enough that they'll buy their books to keep instead of just like streaming them in Kindle Unlimited, or they'll buy paper versions. Okay, anyway, Rise of the Phoenix by F.T. Fair, the first of 7 books in the Westwood Pack paranormal romance series. The other books, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so it's about Alaric, who's an alpha of Ontario's largest wolf shifter pack. And he still hasn't found his mate, even though he's 28. And people usually find their true fated mate by the time they're 25. And he's traveled to packs all over the world looking for his perfect ideal soulmate, and he hasn't found her. And he will be able to tell magically as soon as he finds her. So I hate everything about this premise. So first of all, I hate the fact that there's alphas. Alpha wolves don't actually exist in the real world. That's a myth that's been repeatedly debunked for a very long time. Wolves don't have alphas and betas. Wolves have parents and children. And so that just annoys me every time I see it. Second of all, I hate the fated mates trope. I would rather people had choice in who they dated, but that's just me. And finally, I just hate romance in general because I'm old and bitter. So this book is not for me. It's all drama. It's not action, So there's wolf pack drama and politics, and then he goes to a store to pick up some beer on the way home, and he sees this woman, and he's like, oh my god, she's the one. But oh my god, she's married and she's got kids and she's human. Oh no. And then we switch to the woman's point of view, and the woman is like, oh, my husband's such a jerk. And then she looks around and sees the Solari guy and goes, oh my god, he's so hot. Oh, I hate that. I know people love it. I know it's one of the top best-selling genres out there, and it's a fantasy. It's like eating chocolate or chocolate-covered bonbon ice cream or something. It's not supposed to be good for you. It's supposed to be fun and enjoyable, but it just grates on me like fingernails on a chalkboard. So I have a really, really hard time with these books. But if you're the kind of person who likes them, like I said, it's free, and the other books, all 7 books in the series, are in Kindle Unlimited. All right, next we have The Eighth Excalibur by Luke Mitchell, the first of 4 books in the Excalibur Knight Saga, an urban fantasy and alien invasion mashup. The other books are $5 to $8 each, and they're not in Kindle Unlimited. And this is the author's first time on our Free Friday list. And This story is really, really, really slow going. So I read like 7 or 8 chapters of this book, and it's about a college student whose neighbor's dog gets on the roof of the building. Climbs up, tries to rescue the dog, falls off the roof. His crush comes along. He's embarrassed in front of her and in front of the guy she's with. She invites him to a frat party. He hangs out with his buddies to play video games. Then he goes to the frat party where he's embarrassed all over again by everything. He's easily embarrassed. He comes home. He saves the dog again. Sees that jerk that his crush is with having sex with another woman. Falls off the roof again. Gets beaten up by the jerk, wanders off into the park. The dog follows him, and he's like, oh no, I can't have a dog. I don't have any money to buy dog food. So he's like the sad sack of a guy. The girl he had a crush on literally sat on his lap at the frat party and told him that the jerk wasn't actually her boyfriend, and like leaned really close to him, like waiting for him to kiss her while she's sitting on his lap, and he did not take the hint. So anyways, that's him. And meanwhile, while all this is happening, there's a creepy guy who looks like Gandalf the Wizard, spying on him everywhere he goes. So and the creepy guy is talking to somebody who's invisible, asking things like, are you sure this is the guy? He doesn't seem like the guy. Maybe that jerk, he's the guy, because he's all muscular and buff and he just like beat up our guy. So it's like funny commentary. And so from the description of the book, this guy is going to turn out to be some kind of a knight, and he's going to be activated to fight off an alien invasion. It's a fun read. It's very light. I might stick with it. All right, before we go to the number 1 book, I want to thank our Patreon supporters. And they are Marie Leclerc, Humphrey Price, Alexander Korlov, Avery Parks, Terrence Smith, Brad Center, David Perlmutter, Melody Friedenthal, Anastasia Korolov, and Amira Lutfi. Thanks, guys. We love you. We wouldn't be able to do this without you. And if you want to join them, we'd very much appreciate it. All right, number 1 book on our list, Warbringer by Aaron Hodges, who's a New York Times best-selling author. This is the first of 4 books in the Descendants of the Fall, an epic fantasy series. The other books are $4 each, but they're not on Kindle Unlimited. So he's had a ton of books on our list before. He's a super popular author. Lilibet Dominguez-Torres read this book, and she says that this is a fantasy world that's being ravaged by powerful monsters who used to be humans but got corrupted in magic and turned into these evil monsters. And the war has been going on for 10 years, and the humans are losing. The monsters keep coming, destroying cities, and there's not much that the humans can do other than try to hold them back as long as they can. And they lose people every time they're attacked. So she says there's lots of tension in the book right from the start, but it gives you plenty of context about what's happening and how terrifying the enemy is. And we follow Romain, who's a seasoned warrior who survived the destruction of his city. And now he's a scout, and he tries to protect civilians and kill as many monsters as he can while he tries to discover where the enemy is headed to next. But then he saves a random girl in the middle of an abandoned forest, and it's behind enemy lines, and now he's thinking maybe more humans survive in these captured areas. Lilibet says that she really enjoyed the first few chapters. The pace is great, the characters are interesting, the world is interesting, the writing is great. She says she'll definitely continue reading this book as soon as she can. All right, that's it for today's top 10 books. If you don't want to miss any of these Free Friday lists, You can subscribe to our reader newsletter. The link is in the description box below. Or you can subscribe to our channel and you can like the video and comment on it and do all the things that will tell YouTube to recommend the videos to you when they come out. Oh, there's also like a bell you can hit to get a notification. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining me. And I'll see you again next Friday. Bye, everybody. Have a good weekend. And I hope you had a great 4th of July this a few days ago. Bye-bye.